I'll be honest. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna make this video because I did the tribute salute on TikTok, and I really started to realize that a wider discussion still needs to be held because now that we know what we know, that JDF, Jason David Frank, he took his own life. Now that we know that, I think that the discussion needs to be brought back up, particularly about men, mental health, and how we treat actors and actresses in things that we enjoy or franchises that we despise. Um, because when you see JDF, like if you're somebody who's followed him from when he first broke out onto the scene as the Green Ranger into the White Ranger, like he loved Power Rangers. He loved interacting with his fans. He was always the brightest and most joyous person that you'd meet. He'd have an absolute blast because someone once asked him, why does he keep coming back to Power Rangers when other stars do their stints of maybe one season and then they move on? And he basically said it's for the fans. It's for the love of the fans. And he's someone who I feel as though bridged so many generational divides. Because if you grew up in the 90s, he was your Mighty Morphin Green Ranger. You grew up in the 2000s, he might have been your Black Dino Ranger. You grew up beyond that in the 2010s, even from a couple years ago. He might have been the person leading Forever Red or came back as a cameo just to hype up the fans as like an old school veteran ranger. That's absolutely fantastic. There are generational fans of Power Rangers who know who Tommy Oliver is and his status within the mythos. You don't get that a lot from an actor who devoted himself to the role and made sure that the fans always walked away going, yeah, that's why he's the GOAT. But underneath the surface of all that, you had somebody who was dealing with issues and someone who was really going through a rough patch. Not only had he gone through a divorce, but the divorce was also stemming from the passing away from the exact same reason of his stepdaughter. So you have somebody dealing with all of these issues. And as men, usually, the way in which us men in the 90s, I would say even before the 90s, 80s, 70s, if you weren't a part of the greatest generation ever and you were the children or the great grandchildren or the grandchildren, the great grandchildren, the great great grandchildren, or now the great 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 grandchildren of that generation, as men, we're typically told to bottle up our emotions. Men don't cry. Telling somebody how you feel or what's going on with you is sissy behavior. That's bullshit. Because bottling up all of that negative shit, like we're not designed to be fucking bottles, okay? A regular manufactured bottle lasts for maybe a year. After a year, the plastic in that bottle that starts to break down and those toxins end up in the water that you drink. And continuously drinking from that bottle could lead you to be sick or die. We're not designed to be fucking bottles. We're social beings. We develop social connections. I know that recently in the last few years we've developed a online social connection with the people around us, maybe through TikTok or Twitter or Facebook or Reddit. But we're social beings designed to speak and interact with other people. We develop friendships, we develop love, we develop rivalries, things along those lines. Hiding away your emotions doesn't help the situation at all. Because once you start internalizing all that, it leads to anger. And this type of situation, taking your own life, It's a split second decision. You can think about it, but it's a thought that sits in the back of your head. And it sits in the back of your head, and sometimes it pops up forward to the forefront and you throw it away. And then on some days it's dancing at the front of your head, and it's the only thing that you can think on. And then something happens and it gets tossed back, but it's a split second decision. It's a in the moment decision. And in that moment, it's irreversible, where there's no coming back. For some, for most, there's a small few who make that decision and they're able to survive. But for the most part, it's a split second decision that ends your life and changes the life of all the people around you. And then the same questions end up being asked, which is, why didn't this person speak to someone? It's the way in which we're wired. It's the way in which men, for the most part in society, their brains were wired growing up from being children all the way to adults, where we try to internalize and bottle up all these emotions and all these feelings, and we feel as though we can't speak to other people about it, when in truth you can. If you have a best friend out there, let your best friend know what's going on with you. Let your family know what's going on with you. You don't have family, family isn't only blood. There's someone out there that you develop a connection with. Open up yourself. Let them know what's happening with you. Let them know what's going on with you, so that you can talk through whatever your issues are, or you can create a step-by-step situation with that person that can lead you to getting the help that you need. But then, like I said, there's two parts of the conversation that really need to be held. The second part is how we treat actors and actresses in these series and shows and movies. An actor and the character are two separate things. You could hate the character of Thor, but your hatred of the character of the Thor ends at Thor. It doesn't continue on to a hatred of the man himself, like, let's say, Chris Hemsworth. Same thing with JDF, where a lot of people, when he made the transition from Power Rangers to MMA, dude had a successful MMA career, but it was marred by bullshit, where a lot of people attacked him for his past as a child actor, which is weird that my man is out there showing that it ain't all for show. He's rocking people, and the people he's rocking is putting him down about his past and what he did growing up making his money. And it wears on people. It wears on the individuals in an extremely negative way, which can create these intrusive thoughts, create these situations where some people feel as though this is their only out because of the amount of pressure, that negative pressure that they're basically dealing with. And it really shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. People should be judged by the merits of their character. Are you a good person? Are you a decent human being? They should not be judged and attacked because some person in a script writing room, some guy in a cabin who wrote the lines for film, wrote shitty lines or a shitty character, and then they had to go and portray that bad character. They shouldn't be judged or held accountable for that. And they shouldn't be judged and held accountable for being a part of a fucking kid show when they were growing up. It's everybody has to be better. For the people who need help, talk to someone. Talk to someone, let somebody know what's going on. For the people who take time out of their day to create these just mountains of word posts on Reddit, who flood actors and actresses with messages and tweets and all this other type of bullshit about how they don't like a character, and as a direct result, the actor or actress, they should go die or unalive themselves. Get fucked. It's not that serious. You're still dealing at the end of the day with a human being. You can hate the character, you can hate the words, you can hate the dialogue, you can hate the script, but the person didn't do anything wrong, and they deserve their own peace of mind. But that's basically it. Like, I wasn't sure if I was going to make this video, like I said, but I saw Tyrone Magnus, he had done one, and I had watched his video, and I realized that, not doing it more people should come forward to talk about this, because it's a conversation that it needs to happen, and every time it comes up, it's in the forefront for about a month, and then it just disappears. But yeah, take care of yourselves. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.